Before you start painting any stoneware pieces, it is very important to apply a layer of wax resist to the bottom of your piece. In this case, we are applying Mako's AC302 wax resist to the bottom rim of the mug. The wax resist is a water-based coating that, when applied, will prevent the glaze from adhering to the piece. Stoneware is never to be stilted in a kiln and is placed directly on the kiln shelf. Thus, the wax resist is a very important step and acts as a barrier. You can also use it for design purposes. However, in this video we are only using it to prevent the bottom of the mug from sticking to the shelf. The wax resist will burn away in the firing process. Today we'll be combining 3 different stoneware glaze colors together. To set up my piece for instructional purposes, I'm going to draw a line around the mug to represent the boundaries for where the 3 different stoneware glazes will go. I will also label each third as either 1, 2, or 3. These lines will act as a guide and does not mean you have to stay exactly between the lines, as I will illustrate in a minute. To apply the first stoneware glaze to the piece, we want to grab a medium to large size fan glaze brush. We are using number 8 size in this video. You'll want to put your entire brush into the glaze, not just the tip of it. This will allow you to apply a generous amount of glaze onto the piece for each coat. If you apply a strong amount of glaze on each coat, you'll only need 2 coats per section. However, if you do not apply it heavy enough, you are what is considered a light glazer, and you will need to apply a 3rd coat. I consider myself a heavy glazer, so typically I only need 2 coats. Between each coat, let the glaze dry enough so that the sheen is off the piece, meaning it does not appear to be soaking wet. Once this happens, you can begin by applying the next coat of glaze. Make sure you cover the entire area with the 2nd coat, just like you did with the 1st coat, and don't worry if the 2nd overlaps the 1st, as long as you cover the 1st coat completely. Once the bottom section is done, I like to add the same color to the inside of the mug for a nice contrast. This is just my personal preference, but is by no means what you have to do. Be creative and mix it up. Any of the 3 colors can be applied inside the mug. Choose one and love it. Make sure you paint the entire inside of the mug as well as the rim. And make sure you give the rim a good 2 coats, possibly 3 here, as you want to make sure the rim gets enough glaze, especially at the edge where your lips will be. This will ensure a smooth finish when it gets fired. As the inside is drying, continue to apply glaze to the bottom of the piece. Using your fan glaze brush, create a twisting motion in a circle, which will ensure a proper glaze coverage, and you will get a nicely glazed bottom. Try to avoid painting glaze on the bottom rim. If, however, some glaze does get on the bottom rim, don't worry, we will address this at the end. Once the 1st coat on the inside is dry, apply a 2nd, and do the same on the bottom again. Mako's stoneware glazes come in a variety of looks, from classic shiny to amazing mattes and finally bursting crystals. And when you combine all 3 like we are doing here, you get some amazing results. They also have different properties, meaning some colors are more stable than others. Some will stay where you brush them, while others are made to move and will even run when applied to a vertical surface, such as this mug. We will cover this in more detail on another video. Before moving on to the next section and switching to the next glaze color, use our Coil brush cleaning tank to remove the majority of glaze from your fan glaze brush. To use the Coil, fill 2/3 of the glass with water. Then, take your brush and submerge it into the water, pushing down on the coils in a side-to-side motion, thus removing the majority of paint right up to the ferrule of the brush. Then, take a paper towel and gently dry the excess water without damaging the shape of the brush. The next step is to apply the 2nd stoneware color to the number 2 section of the mug. You want to extend the paint up to the top 1/3 of the piece, while overlapping slightly with the 1st layer you painted at the bottom. I like to go at least one finger in either direction, thus creating a nice combination where the two colors overlap. Apply the same brush technique that you used on the bottom layers to this middle layer as well. When painting to the top of the handle, remember also to paint behind the handle too. Again, do not worry that it has to be perfect and you have to stay between the lines on each coat. Relax and enjoy it. Once the first middle coat dries or the sheen is gone, paint a second coat. Before moving on to the last section of the piece, remember to wash and clean your brush using the Sealer Coil, thus removing the majority of paint off the brush, and it will be ready for the final color. Using your third color, paint the top section of your piece up to the rim. You can also paint the top of the rim over the first color you used. Of course, this is optional and you'll just get a different look. Ensure to paint any part of the handle you missed in the second section at this time, and don't forget to paint under the handle as well. Apply 2 coats again to the entire third area, overlapping by a finger in the middle section. When finished, clean your brush again with the Sealer Coil and lay flat for drying. This will keep the shape of the brush for future use and will last longer. Remember when we painted the bottom of the piece and accidentally got some glaze in the rim? Well, now it's time to clean that up. Take a small container of water and either a sponge or a paper towel. Dip the sponge or paper towel into the water, then squeeze out all the water and lightly wipe off any excess glaze that you see on the bottom rim of the mug. Repeat this until the rim is clear of glaze. This will ensure it will not stick to the kiln in the firing process and present you with a nicely finished bottom. After cleaning the bottom of the rim, it is now time to autograph your piece. Here we are using Mako's SG401 Black Designer Liner. Make sure to shake the bottle before using. Then test it on a piece of paper to make sure it is flowing nicely, and you'll get a nice even line when you apply it. Again, not mandatory, but it creates a nice identifier of who created this piece. As you will see from the finished result, it always looks totally different before and after firing. Finally, our last step is to add some bling by adding Mako's Flux. Take a small fan brush and apply 1 coat to the top band of the mug. Don't forget to apply a small portion to the top handle of the mug, as this will make an interesting cascading color effect as well. Flux is available in light or dark. In this case, we're using Mako's SW401 Light Flux, which is made to make the glaze underneath it move and create a fun cascading effect with light highlighting colors. Let the piece dry and then it is ready to fire in the kiln. So here's the fired result of the mug we did yesterday, and as you can see, it turned out beautiful.